for those who maybe been paying attention to the astrology or not, but Saturn has been in Capricorn since the start or the very end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And so it's meeting up with Pluto in Capricorn. But I think it's really important to know that Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008.
Yep, November '08,
Yeah.
historic time in the election here.
The election.
In Capricorn, which rules governments and authority figures and career and business.
But it did that first dip from January, I believe, until April. I might be wrong about that. I might have done a retrograde in April of 2008. But the point is that there's a part of your life, if you look back over, and this is 12 years at this point, which is slightly bananas, because time is going by
Getting
so
through
quickly. There's a part of your life that's demanded total transformation, and that's what Pluto does. Pluto as a planet in astrology, it demands total transformation. It demands that we tear something, well, in this case, because it's Capricorn, tear down old structures, tear down old barriers. And you can go back and look, I mean, and see your life as maybe your life in total, maybe a particular part of your life is vastly different than it was in 2008. So you've been doing this work, whether you realize it or not, to transform a certain part of your life. Now here comes Saturn. And Saturn as this planet, we were kind of talking earlier, you know, it kind of can be a little bit of a harder energy. But the reason I love Saturn so much is because you know exactly what it wants. There's no ambiguity. Saturn,
Straight shooter.
Saturn wants to make sure you are doing your work, that you are being in integrity, that you are accountable for your actions, that you are growing and building and setting goals for yourself and working towards those goals. And, you know, as we were saying earlier, when you have that easy astrology, the trines and the sextiles, to be a little bit of a nerd for a moment, easy is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but easy doesn't build anything. You need that push. And so there's a part of your life, and we can get philosophical or even spiritual about this, that there's a reason it needs to be transformed. You need to go through this process. So Saturn, as it comes up to Pluto, is checking in on what you're doing with this part of your life. Because Saturn, I say it's like the man with the clipboard, or woman, you know, not to be gender specific, but is looking at the clipboard.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how are you doing on finances? How are you doing on relationships? How are you setting boundaries and setting, you know, so there's this big check-in that we're all having.
It's kind of annoying, but very important. It's like, a little helicopter parent, a little personal trainer accountability
That's
coach.
Actually, like I say Saturn can come to you in three forms. It's almost like the three ghosts of Christmas ghosts. Saturn can either be your personal trainer, which is my favorite version of Saturn. Saturn can be the parent, setting boundaries, saying
authoritarian kind of,
Or Saturn can be the cop.
Yeah.
You don't want that type of Saturn. So I think that's why it's good to really kind of make sure you're eating your vegetables and paying your bills and like doing what you're supposed to do.
Saturn becomes a cop the more you ignore Saturn.
That's true.
So what's interesting is, like, you know, there's so much astrology information out there being dispensed now. So a lot of people who haven't studied it as deeply or maybe as long, I don't put time, you know, I don't say you have to have studied for a certain amount of time, but you do want to have an understanding. Like, a lot of people will take a very basic interpretation and just put fear on it. So many people have heard fear mongering around the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. To your point about the clipboard and the check-in, it's like, how have you been doing since Pluto went into Capricorn in late 2008, or for the last 12 years?
12
wow.
years.
How have you been doing for the last 12 years? What have you been doing? And when we go through the zodiac signs, you'll have a chance to check in on the key area that you're going to have a little visit from hopefully not the cops, hopefully from the loving but firm personal trainer. How are you doing there?